For centuries, we've been hypnotized by a single assumption, that the world exists out there, independent of our perception. That matter came first, and mind came later, like a flicker of light in the darkness of a mechanical cosmos. But what if this assumption was the greatest illusion of all time? What if consciousness was never the byproduct of matter, but the very source of it? Across history, philosophers, mystics, and scientists have wrestled with this mystery, from Plato to Kant, from Einstein to Bernardo Kastrup. Each in their own way asked the same impossible question: is the universe conscious of itself? Imagine for a moment that what you see, the room, the trees, the faces, the stars, isn't out there, but in here. That everything unfolds inside a vast mental field, a single, boundless consciousness dreaming reality into existence. The idea might sound mystical, but it is also the logical endpoint of science itself. Modern physics no longer speaks of solid objects. It speaks of probabilities, of information, of energy fields that only take shape when observed. Matter, it turns out, behaves like a question waiting for an answer. And that answer is consciousness. Analytical idealism, the modern name for this vision, reverses the story we've been told. It says that consciousness is not trapped inside the skull is trapped inside consciousness. That your mind isn't a flashlight in a dark universe. The universe is the canvas upon which your mind paints. It's radical, yes, but look closer and you'll see it everywhere. When you touch a surface, you never touch the thing itself. You feel electrical signals interpreted by your brain. When you see color, there is no red floating in the world. There are only frequencies, light waves, transformed into color inside consciousness. You have never experienced the world directly. You've only experienced the way consciousness interprets itself. This means everything you know, love, and fear, everything that seems solid, exists as an appearance within mind. Reality is not physical, it is experiential. Now pause. Does that mean the world is an illusion? Not exactly. It means it's symbolic. Like a dream, reality is real to the dreamer, but its substance is consciousness, not matter. Bernardo Kastrup calls it the dashboard metaphor. You're the pilot of an airplane, surrounded by glowing dials and instruments. Those dials, sound, touch, color, taste, give you information about the external world. But they are not the world itself. They're an interface, a user-friendly translation of something far beyond comprehension. When you look at a sky full of stars, you are not seeing the cosmos directly, you're reading its interface. Matter is the language consciousness uses to talk to itself. And when there's no pilot in the cockpit, no conscious observer, the dashboard doesn't vanish into nothingness. It simply becomes unrendered, unexperienced. The sky still exists, but not as a picture or sound. It exists as pure potential mind without self-reflection. This understanding flips everything we know upside down. Consciousness is not a ghost inside the machine. It is the machine, the code, and the electricity all at once. We've spent centuries worshiping the physical, trying to explain the mind through atoms. But the deeper we look into the atom, the more it dissolves. The solid world disintegrates into energy, and that energy into mathematical potential. The final layer of the universe is not physical, it's informational. And information is meaningless until it is experienced by a mind. This is why ancient philosophers were closer to the truth than they knew. The Hermetic sages said, "All is mind." Pythagoras saw numbers as divine archetypes, not inventions of man, but reflections of cosmic order. The mystics of India said the same. Brahman, the ultimate reality, is pure consciousness. Science has simply rediscovered in a new language the same eternal realization. Think about what this means for your life. If the world is made of mind, then every thought is not just private noise. It's participation. Your consciousness interacts with the universal field every moment, subtly shaping how reality presents itself. When you hold an intention, when you imagine a possibility, when you act with clarity and emotion, You are tuning your local mind with the larger mind. You are co-creating. You've experienced this before. Synchronicities that defy logic. Moments when your intuition arrives seconds before the event. The feeling that life is responding directly to your inner state. This isn't coincidence. It's resonance. Consciousness recognizing itself across layers of experience. We used to think emotions were internal, private storms of chemicals, but emotion is how consciousness moves energy. When you radiate peace, others feel it. When you carry fear, it ripples through your environment. Your emotional field doesn't end at your skin. It's an extension of mind, your unique pattern in the ocean of awareness. This realization makes responsibility sacred. You are not a disconnected spectator. You are a local expression of universal consciousness, sculpting the world through attention, meaning, and vibration. When you understand that, empathy becomes inevitable. The person you harm is yourself in another form. The world you destroy is the mirror of your own psyche. And love, real love, becomes the recognition that there is only one consciousness playing all roles. The boundaries between minds are functional, not absolute. Under rare conditions, in deep meditation, in near-death experiences, in profound love, these boundaries blur. Information flows between minds. People share visions, thoughts, and emotions with no physical medium. Materialism calls this impossible. Idealism calls it natural, consciousness communing with itself. Even time and space, those great pillars of existence, lose their solidity under this view. They are not containers in which events happen. They are ways consciousness organizes experience. Time is the sequence consciousness uses to narrate its story. Space is the stage upon which it projects its imagination. They are modes of perception, not external realities. When consciousness transcends the filters that sustain individuality, when the self dissolves, time collapses. The past, present, and future merge into a single field of presence. This is what mystics describe as enlightenment, not floating away from reality, but seeing the world as mind recognizing itself. Even science whispers this truth in its equations. Quantum entanglement shows that particles can be connected beyond space and time. The observer effect reveals that the act of measurement shapes the result. In both, we find the same message. Consciousness is not an observer within reality. It is the condition for reality. So why does this matter? Because if consciousness is the ground of being, then everything is alive. Every atom vibrates with awareness. Every moment of joy or sorrow is the universe exploring itself through you. And every act of attention, every I see, every I feel, every I choose, is creation happening again. The implications are staggering. It means free will is not an illusion of the brain. It's the unfolding of universal consciousness exploring its own potential in real time. It means that nothing is predetermined, not because chaos reigns, but because consciousness is free to choose. Each moment of awareness is the universe rewriting itself. And if the universe is conscious, then death is not the end. The dissolution of the body is merely the fading of a local interface. The field remains. You are not inside a brain, the brain is inside you. You have never left the ocean. You are a wave remembering itself as water. So what happens when a mind realizes this fully, not just intellectually, but experientially? When it drops the filters, dissolves the boundaries, and looks inward toward its source, what remains is pure awareness, infinite, self-luminous, beyond birth or death. This is the sky behind the dashboard, the silence behind all signals. It has no name, but it is what you have always been. That realization is not philosophy, it's liberation. When you remember that the universe is mind, you stop trying to control reality and start aligning with it. You stop asking, how can I survive? And start wondering, how can consciousness express beauty through me? You become less of a personality and more of a presence. Less a fragment, more a current in the ocean of being. Everything changes, not because the world becomes different, but because the seer awakens. The mountain doesn't move, but the illusion of distance dissolves. The light doesn't grow brighter, your eyes simply open. In the end, there was never matter or spirit, observer or observed, inner or outer. There was only one infinite consciousness, dreaming itself through countless forms, from galaxies to neurons, from gods to dust, from silence to sound. And right now, as you listen to these words, that same consciousness is recognizing itself in you. You are not in the universe. The universe is in you. And when you know that, truly know it, the illusion shatters and reality begins.